Hello and welcome back to the Sports Show 101.4 on FM. We're joined in the studio by pro boxer and local boy George Groves. George, just quickly there before I get back into the second part of the interview, you're nicknamed the Saint. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Where does that come from exactly?
It was David A himself actually came up with that. You know, they came up with a whole heap of names and you know, boxing names that some were awful, really bad, but some of them weren't so bad. And I think Saint was what we came to agree on, and I think it works. You know, it represents me just a little bit. And if I carry on winning, then the more you win, the more you sort of represent your boxing name. That's how it seems to work.
So, and as you say, now your next big fight is coming up now in 10 days. Is that right?
Yeah, 10 days. Yeah, I'm boxing on October 4th. You know, that's next Sunday, so a week on Sunday. That's at York Hall in Bethnal Green. It comes around so quick. You know, it's been a long time since I've been in the ring, but I've been putting a lot of work on in the gym, and it does come around quick. So as you say, 10 days to go.
Is that very frustrating, George? Because I know as an amateur, you get regular bouts all the time, and then you go from that to the pro game where, you know, you can be doing 2-3 big bouts a year. Yeah,
I mean, as you say, as an amateur, you could box in 5 times in a week. I've done that before. Whereas, you know, as you say, pro boxing is totally different. I've found it fine, you know, it hasn't bothered me at all. I missed out boxing in July, you know, I was supposed to be boxing up in Liverpool in July, so it's been a long time since I've boxed, you know, since April. But because, like, there's no boxing in summertime, you know, it's not as bad as what it really seems, you know. The season started and I'm straight back into it.
Does that mean you can relax now, George, during the summer? Can you have a pint here or there? Can you kind of watch, you know, have that McDonald's now and again?
Yeah, I managed to have 2 weeks out. You know, I managed to get away with my girlfriend for a little short-term holiday. You still got to do a bit of training here and there while you're away, running along the beach or whatever you can find. But since I got back, you know, it's been full training. I've been training for like 10 weeks for this fight.
So you're talking, like, we're talking complete vocation here. It's lifestyle, everything is like gearing up to your next pro fight.
Yeah, I mean, the time you learn your trade is in the gym. It's not actually in the ring. So, you know, when you've got a big gap between bouts, that's fantastic because that gives you time to get in the gym and learn some new stuff. You know, that's what I've been doing. So, I've made sure I didn't go stale by being in the gym too much. But I've been in the gym learning new techniques, some secret weapons, and you know.
And the funny thing now, just from covering amateur, I covered a lot of amateur boxing at home, but you think a lot of the amateurs would know pretty much everything by the time that they get to 23, 24, having grown up all the way through the boxing ranks.
Yeah. But
that obviously isn't the case, right?
No, definitely. Pro boxing is totally different to amateur boxing. And when you're an amateur, you think you're just going to be able to walk in and do what you want to do, but you can't. You know, people like me were told you've got a pro style, you'll be just fine. But you know, just because you're an aggressive fighter or a come forward fighter, don't mean you've got pro style and you're going to be a good professional fighter. And the way amateurs, you know, is changing, you know, with the point scoring and stuff like that. It's becoming almost like a different sport. So if you want to be a successful professional, you need to give yourself time to do so. You know, you need to be in the pro gym and you need to be working hard in the pro gym for, you know, years if need be. You can't just like slip in after an Olympic medal and expect to take on the world.
Is it a higher fitness?
No, not really. I mean, to be honest, it seems like I train, you know, the intensity is a bit lower now, you know, because you can't batter your body, you know, if you're a professional training every day. You can't have a full-on workout where you're absolutely knackered at the end of it 2-3 times a day, because you got to give your body time to rest as well. That's where, you know, it's just as important. You know, if you have a hard session, you need to have a hard rest session, and that's where your body's going to heal, repair and become better.
Now everybody talks about boxers having to make weight and the dreaded scales. You're boxing at super middleweight, George, isn't that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Are you comfortable at that weight?
Yeah, I've actually put on weight, you know, since I was professional. I think it's only £2, but is nice. It is nice. All boxers walk around a little bit heavier than what they actually fight at, you know, and although I walk around heavier than what I am, I'm still growing into that super middleweight frame, you know. Sure. I plan to stay at this weight for a long time. I mean, when I went pro, I decided I thought I could do middleweight, but you know, after I was in the gym a little bit, doing different stuff, you know, my body was getting bigger, I was getting stronger, and all of a sudden, you know, that was an unrealistic target.
Now, just earlier in the first half of the interview, George, you were saying your first fight in the O2, you weren't particularly nervous. But how mentally prepared do you need to be for these pro fights that you're going into?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's immense pressure that you know, that's one slip up, you know, and it could set you back years, you know. So if you go out there and you switch off for a split second, you can get punished. And if you do suffer a defeat or something that's unexpected, then it, as you say, it can set you back. Even a poor performance can be sort of career threatening sometimes.
Sure. And people talk about it, boxing as well being a very isolated sport and very individual sport. Your support network, how important is that to you? And what is your support network outside of the gym like?
Yeah, I mean, as you say, when you're an amateur, you know, you come from a club, you know, you seem to have loads of friends, and then when you turn professional, it's a job. So you're in the gym. Obviously, you make new friends and stuff like that, but it's a tough place to be, you know. And when things ain't always going your way, you do need someone who you can sort of lean on. Like, but I've got a great family who are 100% behind me. You know, I've got good friends, and they appreciate that I can't always go out drinking with them, or I might have to miss someone's birthday. I have to tell my girlfriend, I'm sorry, I can't see you tonight. You know, I'm down the gym. So when people understand, that makes it a lot easier.
So it sounds a lot easier, but obviously it's, you know, very tough. And are you giving yourself a time target of when you want to achieve what you want to achieve in pro boxing?
Yeah, it's hard because you don't want to look too far ahead, you know, and you know, as I say, if you look too far ahead, you're not concentrating on what's exactly in front of you, you can slip up. But as I say, domestic titles is a very realistic goal in the beginning of next year. I plan to have 2 fights minimum, maybe 3, possibly 4 fights, you know, before Christmas. So that's like 4 fights in 10 weeks or something. So if I can keep that busy, then I'm going to be more than ready come the beginning of 2010.
George, just a little bit about the opponent now that you're coming up. You were saying there's a bit of an overlap between people you know and your opponent knows.
Yeah, when I announced that I was boxing Matthew Barr, like he's not all that far from me. I think he lives in Surrey or something like that. He's based over that way. A few of my friends have sparred him, you know, and so I'm pretty sure I've boxed a few of his friends over the years or sparred him. So he's going to know a bit about me. I'm going to know probably a little bit about him. At the same time, you can't take nothing for granted. So it's going to be strictly business. And
is he in the game a bit longer than you?
Yeah, everyone I seem to box has been in the game longer than me. He's probably got 10 years on me, and God knows how many years as a pro on me. I think he's had 14 fights now, 14 wins now, and he's only lost 3 or 4. So he's experienced. You know, he's been in with some tough guys. I think he's just come off the back of a stoppage win or something. So he's going to be in good form. He's going to be up for the fight.
You'd be bringing a big crowd down to York Hall now Sunday week? Yeah.
It's up to me to bring down the big crowd. I think I've sold maybe 300, 400, 500 tickets or something. So it's going to be a nice little mob down there cheering us on.
Does that help, George?
Yeah, it always helps. It always helps. You know, sometimes it's what you live for. You know, that it's you get that adrenaline. You hear about footballers and other sportsmen now, they can't give up the game because that buzz that they get, and I understand totally what they're talking about. You know, as you're walking into the ring, and you know you got loads of people behind you supporting you, and you got music playing and fireworks or whatever's going off, that you just feel on top of the world.
So do you have a strategy now to face Matthew, or are you just going to take it as it comes on the night? Yeah,
I'm just going to take it as it comes. You know, I never have a game plan for a particular fighter, because I was thinking, well, if they've got a game plan for me, they're going to change their style, so why should I? You know, I'm going to get in there and adapt to whatever comes at me. The important thing is not to rush, you know, not to look for the knockout. Him being a southpaw as well is going to be interesting, so I don't want to walk onto any silly shots. So, how
many rounds are we looking at, George?
This is going to be an 8-rounder, and I'm not going to give a prediction quite yet.
George, I just want to wish you the best of luck anyway down the York Hall on Sunday the 2nd, and hopefully we'll have you back in the show later in the year and everything will be going well for you.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having us on, guys.
Thanks a million, George.